And of course, it is a joy. You can definitely come and sup with us. This is the moment of the shock of the hour. You're definitely with us in the Tiger's Nest. The Honorable Priest Isaac here with you. And of course, I have a wonderful visitor with me. I wouldn't refer to him as a guest at this moment because the information he'll be passing to you, I'm sure he will not be guessing at all. We're talking about knowledge information. We have Ras Bobby Olivashi, more commonly known as Ras Bobby. He's a natural healer, a traditional healer. He's a mystic and definitely goes into many different realms. But he has been on the path of traditional healing for many years now, decades definitely. He is one of the students of the great Dr. Sebi. And for those who may not know the good Ras Bobby, I will just say, Blessed love, my Lord. Give thanks for your presence with us. And today we intend to go into one or two different reasonings as the time permits, but I'll just give the good brother an opportunity to introduce or reintroduce himself in whatever way he thinks is applicable for the time to the community there at hand. My good brother.
Well, I'm Ras Bobby Olivache. I was actually born in Curaçao. I grew up in Dominica and I currently reside in St. Thomas, USVI. So because of that, a lot of people refer to me as the Caribbean herbalist. And just one maintaining the culture and the tradition of Africa. Because from time immemorial, we have to remember we came from a tribe, an ethnic group, and as such, the ethnic groups were set up all over the planet by Africans, the original human beings, essentially for healing the individuals who come out of the ethnic group. And the shaman and the elders often, not often, they will who run things. And so the shaman was equipped with the knowledge and the astrology and the family lineage of everybody within the tribe. They were the advisors, they were the organizers of the agriculture, those who planted, gathered, and treated the members of the community with herbs and other aspects of healing. So I spent like a year and a half, maybe about 16 months with Dr. Sebi between 1978 and 1980. And I have also had the opportunity to communicate and connect with many other natural healers, as we know. Knowledge is power. We just find it necessary to acquire as much information as we can so that those who come to us for healing can have the opportunity to get like a real wise concept of what they as the individual can do to heal themselves.
You mentioned Dr. Sebi. As I said before you spoke, you were a student of Dr. Sebi. You could just give us a little idea of what it was, working with Dr. Sebi or being tutored by him, if you want to say, coming up under him.
Well, Sebi was a very practical man. I met Sebi in 1978 in Martinique. I was on my way out of a tour. My eldest sister, in fact, my mom's eldest daughter, Ophelia, she's known as Dominica Songbird, and in those days she was at the kind of beginning of her trot as a singer of kind of calypso. And we had gone to Guadeloupe, and then we had gone to French Guiana, and then we proceeded on to our last leg to Antigua, and not to Antigua, to Martinique. And in those days, you could just come to the conductor and ask them if they could change your flight for you.
Yeah.
You could get a change of flight without a price, contrary to these days. So he was kind of observing me in the line trying to get a flight out, and they were telling me, well, they'll have to put me on standby because they're not too sure whether I can get on that flight. And on my way back, on my way go towards the back of the room, there was this tall man who you just had to see, and he had like a small hat on his head and a dashiki, and he just kind of looked different. So on my way back, I say, "Hi, what's up?" He said, "You can speak English." I say, "Yep." And he said, "I'm on my way. I'll come to see you." "Where you going?" I said, "Dominica." He said, "Wow, I'm going to Dominica too. So I'll come to look for you in a little while." So he went and dealt with his flight, and then he came to the back and he said he would. We just naturally started speaking. Sebi is just like was just a real down to earth brother, Caribbean brother, typical Caribbean, African Caribbean brother, who was very forthcoming. It's just naturally someone you would like right away, and we just instantly became brothers. I guess we were always brothers, but we kind of cemented a great relationship, and then I ushered him into Dominica because somebody had told him about Nature Island and the Caribbean. And he wanted to know that place that had so many sulfur springs, and that place that had so much clean water. And so once he came in, I introduced him to my friends. And he lived in a hotel called Cicero Hotel initially. And he said he was interested in living in this place. He wanted a place to live. And so I brought him to my village. So every afternoon I
Now with
was with
villages
him.
now.
And that village is Point Michel in Dominica. At that time, Ma'a was his wife, his companion, and they had three children, Usha, and Sisa was in Ma'a's stomach, Ma'a's womb. And we spent those months together. He had returned to the States and thought he wanted to stay, and he sent me some money to set up a bank account for him. So I did that, and I was a signatory in his absence, and he trusted me with money, a man who I just met. And so it's just like a natural cosmic
I
connection.
feel that. I feel that. I definitely.
And the thing about it is that I had never read about herbs in as a youth. At that time, I was 22 years old, and you know, somebody had given me a Rasta brother had given me a book to read called Back to Eden by Jethro Cloth. And so a week, 2 weeks after reading about herbs for the first time, I met a real herbalist. So like I attended the St. Mary's Academy in Dominica, Antigua has the St. Joseph's Academy, which is basically a Catholic school. But coming out of school, you hadn't learned enough to say that you pursuing a vocation. It's just a lot of general knowledge about math and about a language and about science, which is good, of course, because it's the beginning of many things that we know are very, 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 very important right now. And meeting Sebi and certain things that we saw with our own eyes relating to the use of herbs, it just caused me to realize at the time, yes, that is what I was going to do for the rest of my life. So at 22, I found out what I was exactly going to do for the rest of my life. I visualized it, I pursued it, and here
Yeah.
I am.
And it appeared before. Yes, I did have the opportunity of meeting with Doctor. I met Doctor Sebi in St. Thomas several years ago, as I said, a very down to earth person. Well, my good brother, to yourself now, as a practitioner, if that's the right term, as you said, a natural healer, amongst our people. I know you go up and down the Caribbean and different parts of the world, but for sure, as you said, you're the Caribbean man, and
Caribbean overlay.
Caribbean herbalist. What are the main problems that you see plaguing our people, even at this time in the Caribbean?
Well, on a daily basis, I do consultations where I live. I live in the Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, and I also do consultations in St. Croix. These are two areas where our family have a herb shop.
It's St. Croix I met up Sebi on King Street, not St. Thomas,
Yes,
St. Croix. Sorry.
good. And so I see many people on a weekly basis. So as I go from island to island most of the time, even if I go to other islands some of the time. But very often you meet people with first the biggest organ of the body is the skin. Many people have skin issues like
Okay.
acne, psoriasis. So we see many problems with the skin. We see issues of digestion, conditions like a bloated feeling and gas and acid reflux, and all these come about as a result of the malfunction of the liver.
Mm.
And we see a plague, an epidemic of issues with sisters and brothers, with prostate issues and uterine issues. And that troubles me a lot. And as a result of that, we've had to respond to that. We see people with asthma and bronchitis, issues of the lungs. We see people with weakened immune systems. Even there is a seminar that we did recently, we found necessary to focus on things that we can do to strengthen the immune systems. So conditions like that, we see cancers, we see, so many people suffer with things like cancers these days. And always the challenge
And
to,
you've said so many things, and I expected you to start with, not expected, but you'd usually hear diabetes, hypertension. It's as if you haven't reached there yet, and you already, you know, dropped down so many things.
I mean, so many people so sick. That's the problem with it. I mean, diabetes and high blood pressure, it's like, as you say, it was just the end of the road in terms of the list I wanted to follow.
Yes, sir.
Because these non-communicable diseases are really plaguing us, killing us, and it's really a problem. And so the discussion really is, to me, is more about food. Because as we often tell the people, your food is your medicine. Your medicine is your food.
And you would say that as you mentioned, the immune system. Would you agree that I guess that's like the main thing? Once you strengthen the immune system itself, all of the other ailments that you just mentioned. Not that you wouldn't still concentrate on, I guess, the liver and whatever else organ there is to concentrate on, but understanding the immune system throughout the body and strengthening it, because you just said you had highlighted that at the last lecture. I did not attend, but it was it was a productive evening. So the immune system, what importance do you rest on that?
Oh, it's crucial. It's like if you have a nation without an army, people can just walk over you. And likewise, the immune system is such to the body, and the immune system is your army, and it's spread all over the body. And
Yes.
how to deal with it, I think first and foremost is your breathing.
I was going to ask you that. Yes.
So
First and foremost,
first
your
and
breathing.
foremost is your breathing, because your breath is the most important thing.
So not what you eat, your breathing. I mean, as you said, first and foremost.
First and
I'm
foremost,
following you.
the most important thing on planet Earth is your breath and the relationship that you have with your breath. The stretching, so the breathing, the deep breathing exercises and the stretching. Because every cell needs oxygen. So to do breathing exercises. I personally try to do breathing exercises like 20, 30 minutes first thing in the morning. So I want to maybe get up and drink a little tea because you have to begin the hydration of the body first thing in the morning. Or some water. These days you hear about alkaline water. I think it's a good concept, but alkaline water is simply like things like coconut water or bush tea or water with a little lemon in it, or a little lemonade and cayenne pepper. So first thing in the morning, especially those people who get up with the blockage in their nostrils, I think before they do anything else, they should clear their nostrils. Because if the nostril is blocked, it means minimal amount of oxygen is reaching your brain.
And that's with the water, the lemon, the cayenne pepper, plus the breathing.
Yes.
Okay.
First thing in the morning. You can use a variety of teas. Probably you want to use a stimulant, something like ginger or turmeric, things that helps the circulation, and at the same time things that have some iron, something to give you energy, maybe moringa, maybe dandelion leaves and dandelion root, or a little lemonade with a little molasses. All those things give you iron, give you a boost first thing in the morning. So that and the stretching. So the stretching, the breathing, and the relationship that you have with the stretching and the breathing is very crucial for the immune system because people just take breathing for granted. They hardly ever focus on it, other than if they find they
Can't breathe. Yes, I hear you.
like a breath ready to skip, then they start realizing, wow, I'm breathing. So the breathing exercises one time a day. You see, because what that does is that it puts you in a zone of self. You focus on self because as soon as you take that in, you have that inhale, you focus in on self because your breath becomes part of you as soon as you inhale it.
Mm.
And it's a very exotic feeling, it's a fantastic feeling because the most important, you realize you're actually doing the most important thing and you're focusing on it. And that teaches you how to focus. It teaches one meditation and then the sunshine. And sometimes you just have to take a walk.
Yeah, sunshine is key.
I had a little cough before the seminar, and I told my brother and Jules, I ain't gonna have the cough tomorrow. So he looked at me and he laughed. So I just walked to town and I started eating some fruits and just keep walking for the whole day. And then about 2 hours before the session, I stretched and I do my breathing exercises like for about half an hour. And I did 2 hours of talking and I wasn't coughing. So the breathing, the teas, the pure liquids, the breathing, the sunshine, the fruits. Maybe some people choose to have grains instead. I did less fruits on that day and more grains. So I had some quinoa, and I had some chickpeas and some vegetables, green vegetables. This is so important every day. So it's about eating the foods that will nourish you, that will energize you, that eat a wide variety of fruits and vegetables and alkaline grains and nuts. Nuts are alkaline. So you can have some acid because you want to like base like 70-75% acid. And by the way, alkaline just simply means non-inflammatory. And acid means inflammatory. So disease come about like an acid condition. So you having the foods that don't promote and don't multiply the acid in the body, the mucus in the body, the inflammation in the body, which are really all the same things.
So you wouldn't say you promote a full, let's say 100% alkaline. Well, I mean, there's that concept. Okay, in fact, let me just bring it a bit more to home. Um, Earlier, you actually mentioned molasses, and it would be remiss of me not to mention this because the audience will comment on this. As a student of Dr. Sebi, um, I know for sure, from my understanding, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I don't think molasses is on his list. But there are a few things that definitely is not on the saving list. And a lot of people out there, let's be straight, a lot of people are fanatics when it comes to the eating in general and Dr. Sebi, just the truth. So I know there are ones, take it from me, brother, that will comment that as you are a student of Dr. Sebi, is it a case of that, of course, with all due respect to him and all that you've learned from him, but maybe, as maybe any student, there are one or two things that you have adjusted within your own philosophy. Just ask
Yeah,
him.
well, Sebi had his way of healing the sick. And, I give enough respect to Sebi, he's my foremost teacher. But I also have other teachers.
Okay, fair enough. Just ask him.
We have this lady in Dominica. Her name was Mama. Mama was 104 when she forwarded to the next realm, to the spirit world. And she did a lot of things that probably Savior would not advocate to do. We know Dominica is one of the areas of the world where you have the highest concentration of centurions.
Mm,
And like Savior
definitely.
say,
You want to live there.
that you should use no stats.
Okay, right.
But my Pampo used stats, and she used even used certain fish and certain foods like that, and she lived to 135 years old. So it's information that is real, but still contrary to what Sebi is saying. I remember when we were together, Sebi always used to refer to this book called the Mucusless Diet Healing System. And I have used that system in treating many a person.
But just let me just come in quickly. We're getting back to the mucus less that, but just to be official and to be correct to the audience. My Israel
Mapampo.
my pump,
Yeah.
135.
She lived 135 in the Commonwealth of Dominica.
Okay.
In fact, as I was telling you
I thought it
earlier,
was 127. I used to hear them say 125, but I know when I was in Dominica,
yeah,
they were speaking about it, and she didn't pass when I was in Dominica, but I think they gave her this great ceremony or something. I remember seeing it on the television,
yeah.
and they were saying 127. And do you know when you look up the oldest records of people in the world, they have the oldest person as 125 as well. And she's not in that record. I said, look at this here. But if
Well,
you're telling me 135, I mean, you're more closer to the
no, but
ground than me.
I'm from Dominica. I
Right.
heard that number. I'm
So,
not doubting it was 127.
right.
But 127, 135 is in the same
Right.
ballpark.
I hear you.
So, but I'm saying all that to say, I'm
Of course,
saying all that to
useless.
say, my pampo wasn't on the Mercos's diet.
Right. That's the main point.
My pampo eats some meat.
Mm.
My pampo eats some fish. My pampo eats yams. You know.
I get you.
So I know there are people in the regions of the world like Vilcabamba, Ecuador. They also have a lot
Yes,
of
that's true.
centurions. I saw pictures of them 120 something years old. We know about Dr. Li from China, who taught 10 generations or 20 generations. He
Can
was
you imagine that?
233 when he passed, and he passed by some accident. So I'm saying that those people use goji and they use the foods of the Himalayas and fine. Um, in the Caribbean, we live a certain way. I know Sebi used to have tonics made of molasses
Oh, okay.
in
But
those
as I
times.
said, you're more closer to
Yes.
the ball game than me.
You see,
But right,
um,
that's interesting.
Irish moss, I know they are certain natural healers they don't use honey because they say honey is the vomit of the bee.
Bees,
Okay, some of
vegan.
us still use honey, especially the highly pollinated honey. You see what I'm saying? So, in terms of Sebi, Sebi was a tremendous healer. Sebi, just by his activities, he obviously was the great healer that we knew he was because things that I saw him do. See, Sebi remove stones of the bladder, stone in a man's bladder, was on his way to Barbados to perform some operation, which would cost him about 8,000 Barbados dollars. Sebi healed a man overnight with Cascara Sagrada and hops. And hops is the same um, herb that is used to brew
Yeah.
the poisonous beer that they mix with so many chemicals. So the same beer, same hops that they used to make beer. Sebi made it a tincture out of the hops, soaked it with alcohol. Now, certain people just don't want to hear about alcohol. But alcohol is one of the greatest mediums to magnetize the powers of the herbs out of it
Please
and into that.
tell them we're not talking about
And I'm not talking about drinking rum, of course. I'm
rum.
talking about grain alcohol,
Barley,
even
malt.
other alcohols. That which we saw from Sebi. Sebi basically used vodka. I'm saying alcohols up to 150, 170 proof can be used to extract to make a tincture. And that's what he used. In terms of the cascara, it was something else. Cascara had no alcohol. But I'm saying that to say, in 14 hours, we saw a man's kidney stone of his bladder removed.
14 hours.
Yes, because he was eating too much cheese, and he was drinking too much milk, and he was eating too much egg, and he was using too much butter. So I advocate the use of the mucusless diet healing system. But we know of other natural healers. We know of Mamak, which I was talking about. Mamak was 100 and something. We know of other natural healers like Laila Africa. We know of other natural healers like Shango. And all those people I study and I read, and we know of different techniques of different people. Like, for example, the use of garlic. There's a lot of controversy
All of
relating
that.
to
Oh,
garlic.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
remember having
You utilize garlic.
I have something called garlic
Syrup.
syrup.
Okay, this is right.
No, garlic syrup. I had a garlic syrup in my cupboard for 3 years, and my brother-in-law had a stubborn cough. I gave him
Oh,
one
yeah.
tablespoon of garlic syrup and
That's
stopped.
I'll tell you that. And it was there for 3 years, so it was that'll be fermented or curing itself.
Yes,
Yes,
but I'm saying all those things to say, you see,
balance.
yeah, everybody have their
Mm-hmm.
techniques, and I respect that.
But
But to say that I'm limited to only what any one person
exactly.
say, no, I have to be me.
Yes, of course.
And the experiences that I have, because even on a local level, on a St. Thomas level, You know, the people can testify as to things that we've done with them. I give thanks that I had the opportunity to treat them. And with some of the herbs that are considered to be undesirable, you know. For example, we've done the same similar things with the upper respiratory system with comfrey.
Comfrey is the next.
But the FDA say that comfrey has this chemical in it that negatively affects the liver if used in large doses. But
Okay.
even if the comfrey have a sticky effect, the use of the comfrey with turmeric or ginger and cayenne pepper will prevent that stickiness from being so adverse. So it again is just what you know and how you know it and
They
how
said the
to do it.
periwinkle was toxic as well.
Yes. Well, I hardly ever use periwinkle for
Oh,
diabetes. You
okay.
know, because they have many other herbs to use for diabetes, but I know that many people use periwinkle for the same reason. Some people use mint. I hardly use mint also. I would use turmeric and ginger and aniseed for gas instead of mint. But some people use mint and people use the peppermint oil. We also talk about here about aloe. We know of people who had a moon-like face overnight as a result of some sting of some insect in the night, and the next morning their face was like the moon. And the doctor was spoken to about it, and the doctor said, "Well, we're gonna have to operate on Monday," and it was Friday afternoon. And we found the aloe and we put it on the face. And by Monday morning, the face was totally normal.
Maybe more beautiful than before.
Yes, but there's the controversy about aloe. So as I say, I do give respect to the Phil Valentines and the Lila Africas and the Dr. Sebi and Shango and Kailash and all the natural healers that do great works. Yet everybody have their experiences.
And what's interesting, you mentioned also before we even come up with this realms here, this, you mentioned also, okay, that you use this as a strong point that even things that I know you don't advocate, to be clear, I know you don't advocate eating the fish and etc. etc.
Yeah.
But you're showing, but yes, there are people that even though they eat fish and look how long they live. But not even just fish, my brother. Like around here in Antigua, the people, people like um, the naysayers that they're quick, even if they're just poking fun at you, they say, hey, maybe your granny lived to be 90 so, and she eat everything. Maybe she does make rice pudding, it's rice pudding.
Yeah.
When you take the blood of the
Yes.
pig
Yes.
and boil it in rice, boil the rice in it and then stuff the intestines of the pig and these different things. So people would always use that and say, hey, remember your granny lived to, maybe not the 100. Like just the other day, in fact, in Antigua, I think they have 20 something centenarians right now. Right now.
Yeah.
And this was a talking point. One of them made 100, I think, last week or the week before. And he was stressing that his favorite food is dumpling, boiled dumpling, fried dumpling, and he ain't talking about no wheat flour dumpling.
White flour.
We know that. And so people were actually calling on the radio, even calling out your brethren Shango and brother Luke and so James Luke and these ones saying, I hope James Luke and Shango listening. Because, yeah, that's how they stay around here. They tell him man keep off a flour. I wonder how long they gonna live. So they don't putting it on you now. Let's see how long you go. Because this man lived to be 100 and his favorite food is dumpling. You know what I mean? And yes, our grandparents used to eat pig, but what I would say, I see the pig in the yard. That's number one. I see the chickens from an egg to when they kill them. And that's one point. And then there's another point, like the periwinkle thing and so. I would see my great aunt and so would pick that regularly, drink that regularly, and they never drink soda neither. So it's a lot of different things mixed in. Not that you're promoting pig, whether it's yard pig or yard fowl,
Yeah.
but at least you could say that these ones that made it to 80 and 90, they had a counter attack for that pig or whatever, even though they think it was good food, they had a counter attack. I used to have to drink bitter bush. I think my father used to give me my bitter at least once a month, and I know that has helped to bring me thus far. So on that level, the old people, as far as I see it, the ancient people, if they weren't eating the pig, maybe they would pass the 100.
In other words, what you actually saying is that they had a knowledge of natural healing.
Yes. Yeah.
And they would acquire parasites. They would know they have parasites.
From the slave food,
yes.
The next one. Go ahead.
Yeah, they know they have parasites, but they know how to use the worm grass.
Yeah.
They know how to use the neem bush. They know how to use the male papaya, the flower of the male papaya, to kill worms. So our ancestors had the knowledge of herbs. Our ancestors had the knowledge of natural healing. So they used to eat those things, but they used to walk more. So they had a strong foundation. They used to eat a lot of fruits. These days, little children don't want to eat fruits. Little children want to go and have the KFC, and the burgers and
Burger King.
the Burger Kill and all those things, So the extent of the chemicals in the sodas, in the sugar, in the pork chops, compared to yesteryears where you had less of that and more exercising, and also the use of herbs. I know of certain great natural healers when they come to the Caribbean, they eat fish. So it's not a matter of judging those who eat fish, or judging those who eat, dumpling or so. Or maybe the dumpling is used yesteryears, it was something like the unbleached white flour, so maybe he know how to mix certain spices to enhance the energies of certain herbs to prevent certain conditions. So yes, they knew that, like in Dominica, for example, you hear the people talk about drinking the chichiman tea, which is the turmeric tea. You hear of people who on a every 3-4 months they take in a clean out. Some of them would hang their douche bag, the enema things on the wall. You understand? That is one of the things that Sebi don't advocate either, the use of enema.
So in Dominica, they were doing that decades ago too?
Yes, they used to put a nail on the wall, and they would have their douche bag on the wall, and they would douche themselves. The women would either douche their womb, the men and the women douche through their rectum. For example, brother, if somebody is suffering from epilepsy, the person fall out and mucus is coming out of their nose, so there is no oxygen to the brain, and they fall off. You think I would think of giving them cascara? Even to drink something at that point would be a little dangerous, because water could end up in the lung. So I'm going to use cascara, I'm going to use senna. The person suffering with epilepsy. The quickest thing to do, the best thing to do is to do an enema. Simple with a little lemon. Squeeze some seeded lemon into some water and douche the person and clean them out right away. Now I know our culture.
Does it need a level of professionalism to do that?
Well, I mean, if you reach a spot, for example, I like to be practical, right?
Realistic.
Yes, practical and realistic. This lady calls me from St. Thomas. She's from Antigua. Ras Bobby, you have to come to Antigua to heal me. I see you in a while, but you have to come to Antigua to see me. So I say, Mommy, you're displacing me for 3 days, so we're gonna have to make an arrangement. We're gonna have to make an arrangement because I getting out of my region I getting out of my region for 3 days, but I'm coming to Antigua. do you have any nurse who's a friend or relative? And she said, yes. So I reached Antigua, and naturally we put on cascara, we put on a four-hook combination that we known as SCI. We put on a blood purifier and immune booster, but we put on a product called bladderwrack flax. Now the bladderwrack flax is made up predominantly of bladderwrack. Bladderwrack is a marine herb. Bladderwrack has many trace minerals, including iron, calcium, but a crucial trace mineral, iodine. So the iodine from the bladderwrack, we fed her with. We also had her using sea moss. We prepared the sea moss with some turmeric. And then we observe her cleaning up. But what I ask them to do is every day, I want you all to give this woman an enema. You give her an enema for 21 days. Then you give her enema every 3 days until her stomach gets flat. So we remove the cause of the problem, which is accumulated waste in the intestines. We also give her cascara because the cascara cleans the small intestines and also the large intestines. The enema also only cleans the large intestines. So we get the few pounds of waste out of our large intestines within a short period of time. We had to use kelp in addition to the CMOS and the bladderwrack. And in like 9 days, 10 days, she was walking to the bathroom by herself. And prior to that, she just couldn't walk.
And
I just know. But at the same time, we advise her to stay away from the milk and to stay away from the cheese and to stay away from a tremendous proliferation of drugs that she get in the foods that she eats. The chicken, the dairy, the meats. And so her husband say, Raspberry tired, tell you stop drinking that cow milk. The cow milk is for the cow. So staying away from those foods, cleaning out the waste in the large intestine, feeding the people with iodine and fruits, but not sour fruits, like papaya, ripe local bananas.
that's all. So the enema and the colonic, what's the difference? Or is it the exact same thing?
Okay, I am worried about the colonic. Why? Because the colonic can create an incident, or you could call it an accident, because it's a lot of water that's put in the colon at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So it's heavy. So the transverse colon, as you know, the ascending colon is on the right side, the transverse colon through the center, and the descending colon that goes to the bathroom. The enemas, you use a quart of water instead of a gallon of water, for example. So much less weight. You understand? But again, if it's somebody,
And that's why you do it more regularly.
yes, so you do enemas. But we've say with this case of this woman who had painful legs, like a case of elephantiasis, a real swollenness of the legs. And we had spoken about enemas and so on. It was difficult for her to do it on her own. But she went to a colonic expert. She went into the room with swollen legs and came out of the room with the legs being normal. All because of a colonic. Now, when people come to me for
So
consultation,
she went into the room that she did,
with swollen legs,
that she did the colonic.
yes,
It's not an enema, it's a colonic.
colonic, with hard swollen legs.
And she
That
came out of the
she
room.
came out of the
She
room.
didn't go home to heal.
Right. The healing was done right there.
Right. So you're saying it works, but you still have some concern. It's not as if
Like I use cascara and SCIAC most of the time for cleansing. I would even suggest people use a little ginger and aloe. You see, because aloe is Caribbean region. Again, controversies about aloe. But when I use aloe, it works for the people.
Contribution for coconuts.
Yes, and
So
using the aloe with the ginger, with the turmeric, neutralizes any kind of toxic negativeness that could happen as a result of the use of aloe. So I'm aware of the fact that by the use of aloe, we could get aloe poisoning.
yeah. Oh well, as
Yeah,
I said, they say that.
yeah, but by the use of the ginger and the cinnamon and the turmeric with the aloe,
That
there is no toxic effect. So that is how we use spices with certain products and certain ailments.
so they have documented cases of aloes.
When you say aloe poisoning,
I
not
mean,
aloe poisoning to the point of death, fatality, but um, certain effects.
because what we call aloes, simple Bible, it's almost like a god to us. Well, maybe not now, but when I was small, that was like a little like the god of the plants or something there. The aloes, you know what I mean? That was
Aloe for the liver, aloe for cleaning the blood. It's
eat
just
it,
that
drink it, soak it,
if
put it
you
on the
certain,
covers.
like turmeric or ginger, if you use it with aloe, it kind of safer,
Okay.
and you'll
I
still
hear,
have the
I hear.
same effect.
Respect. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I get that. I get. But honestly, that's like something new to me. The whole aloes. I mean,
There's this professor, his name is Dr. Edward Shooks.
but if they say that about, yeah,
Right.
definitely. But if they say that about coconut, well, I guess they can say that about anything. But yeah,
Yeah, they just say a lot of nonsense. As I say, it's to certain things are tried and proven.
mm,
Within Rasta culture, within Caribbean culture, we do things the Rasta way, we do things the Caribbean way, with as great results as whoever come from wherever. And as we go along, we evolve and we recognize the powers of many, many natural healers who do many great things. And eventually we acquire even other than what we begin with.
my good brother, we're gonna look to wrap up this interview here. You were saying about Dr. Edward Trust. Do you want to just make that point?
No, we have people like Dr.
Yeah,
Edward Shooks, we have people like Dr. Christopher, all great herbalists, maybe from
Dr. Christopher.
Dr. Christopher is the author of a book called School of Natural Healing, for example. All of those great herbalists teach us about things like chickweed, which you find over there is a tremendous diuretic and blood purifier for conditions like psoriasis. And so in the Caribbean, we have issues with the prostate gland. We could use turmeric with a little black pepper for the treatment and prevention of such. We could use the local honey for the treatment, even if there are other sweeteners that we can use.
Black baby is the next country. I'm sure. Well, you are in the game, so I know you would have to
Yeah,
come
if you
across
use
that.
too much black pepper, you have issues like the heartburn of. But we're talking about just a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
That's why now the practice, the people who into the herbs all the time, they have an idea as to what they experience, and so then the natural healers would know they have to use a little of that black pepper with the turmeric to bring out the active ingredients, such as the curcumin
Mm.
from the turmeric. And I say with the comfrey, you use ginger, you use pimento, or a quick moving herb to disperse the stickability or the styptic nature of the comfrey. But nice to be here, nice for the
Yes.
reasoning.
We want you to give any contact you have, any information, website, Facebook, whatever it is.
Yeah,
The
you
call,
check.
the calling already there.
You could check Raspberry Herbal Products on the Facebook.
Ras
Uh,
Bobby Herbal
Raspberry Herbal
Products
Products on
Facebook.
Facebook. Yes, and then you can also call contact Ras Bobby at 340-775-0851. St. Thomas and St. Croix.
Oh, they calling already. See
And
how
they
quick the
calling
thing go. That's
early.
it. We don't play around here.
Yes, so 775-0851, 340-775-0851 St. Thomas, and 340-643-2372. Also St. Thomas, but that's the WhatsApp number. And for St. Croix, 340-473-1600.
Well, Honorable King, we definitely give thanks, you know, and all prosperity and blessings for the future.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you
you
very
very
much.
much, Terry.
Yes, sir.
One love.